Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zach Jones, although a lot of you probably know who I am by now. And last few weeks back I did a presentation on animals that are at risk of extinction, but today I've decided to present a PowerPoint I've been working on for the last 3 years and finally finished. It's 20 animals of Great Britain. They're all like birds and mammals, but I'm going to show you them now, and let's begin. First one is my all-time favourite animal, the sky equivalent of the cheetah, the Peregrine Falcon, and to be precise, the Peregrines of London. Peregrines are the largest falcons in the British Isles, and they're found in many parts of the country, but these peregrines live right above the people of London. And of course, in birds of prey, the females are quite often bigger than the males. Of course, cities aren't usually the typical habitat for a peregrine. A more natural backdrop would be somewhere wild, rugged and cliff-faced, perhaps at the coast. But cities are perfect habitat for peregrines for two things. First is skyscrapers, which act like their natural cliff homes. It helps them raise their chicks, but also helps them give a bird's eye view of their territory. And the second thing that attracts them into cities is their favourite food, pigeons. These birds flock to city centres because of the amount of food there is for them, and of course, peregrines act as pest control from above, keeping pigeon population under control. Of course, with the arrival of spring will come new demands on the peregrines' hunting skills. Skills that will test them to their limit, because as around springtime they start raising young, and there are new mouths to feed, and peregrines will usually have like 2 to 4 chicks, but if they're going to grow old enough to fly the nest, their parents have to catch at least 2 pigeons a day for a whole month. And that will be the biggest challenge of their lives. As I mentioned in my previous PowerPoints about the Peregrine Falcon, these birds are the fastest creatures that have ever lived. And that's because they can go to well over 200 miles per hour when they're going into a dive known as a stoop. And that's because this is a bird that catches its prey on the wing. It can't pin its prey to the ground like an eagle, so it uses speed. But as they dive, air rushes in through their nostrils and could explode its lungs. But they have special cones just inside their nostrils that slow the airflow before it hits the lungs. And believe it or not, this design is so effective, it's now used in jet engines. Of course, despite their speed, peregrines have a very poor strike rate, with only 1 in 5 hunts or 20% of attacks ending in a kill. And so the odds are actually stacked against the peregrine and its chicks. Of course, before, peregrines weren't always so successful in cities. Like urban sprawl meant their old homes were destroyed to make way for skyscrapers. But they have learned to adapt and spread across cities all over the world, and they can live alongside humans because skyscrapers offer places for them to nest and raise their young, but also cities attract pigeons, which are their #1 food of choice. Peregrines are determined parents, and of course they will provide their chicks with a daily kill. Their secret weapon is speed. But on flat, a pigeon can outfly a peregrine because these birds fly at 61 miles per hour, and they have incredible stamina, so they can outpace a peregrine in flat-out flight. So, peregrine will drop out of the sky at over 200 miles per hour, and then, just moments before impact, it will unleash its 5-centimetre talons, and the force of the blow could snap a pigeon's backbone, killing it instantly. And then it will either the male or the female will take their kill back to the nest and be able to feed their chicks. When the chicks are able to fly, because they tend to look a lot more like this, sort of like grey and downy. Sorry about the interruption.